My good. Thank you. All right, let's go, guys. Freedom Now. It's great to be back before you. It is Wednesday, February 12th. Thank you so much for being patient while I was on vacation. Okay. I needed a little rest. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Hey there, Keisha. Thank you so much, Chuck. So how are you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling tonight? Marie, it's great to see you. Hey there, Lynn. Good to see you. Thank you, MH. Shabir, thanks so much for being here. We're going to have a great time tonight. We have a lot of immigration news to catch up on, including some breaking news that came out tonight. All right, excellent. It's good to see you guys. Type in freedom now, freedom now, freedom now. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law, where we believe that freedom is now, it is urgent. And if you believe that freedom is urgent, type in freedom now. Now, guys, our contact information is scrolling above. Certainly reach out to us during business hours to book an appointment with an attorney. For tonight's purposes, we're going to talk about a whole lot, okay? You guys, things are crazy in America right now, okay? Crazy in America right now with immigration. You have a major showdown happening between the feds and the states, and then you have major things happening by certain states who are trying to be like a mini me federal government. Okay, we're going to start off with the first state like that, and it is Florida. Guys, Florida is going to be a very, very dangerous place to be. Okay, very soon. For those who are on path, you're on a pathway to getting your status fixed and you're in the state of Florida, watch this, listen up, share this live session with others. This is not fear mongering. As a matter of fact, Florida right now is gearing up to have another special session come back on Monday. The legislature is going to come back next week to work on major immigration reforms. And you might be saying, but we've already been down this road before. We've already done some bad things in Florida. What now? Well, what now is that Governor DeSantis is actually getting more of what he wants, and he wants to be a mini-me federal government. He wants to take on immigration enforcement in a very strong way in the state of Florida. And specifically, guys, what they're working on, they've carved out a deal that number one would make it a state crime to enter Florida as an undocumented immigrant, a state crime. And then they also, as part of this deal, would end what they're calling catch and release for criminal undocumented immigrants. Unclear what they're talking about there. They're ending catch and release. But then what I find to be really, 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 really concerning is the fact that under this new compromise deal in the state of Florida, all state and local law enforcement agencies would be required to help the federal government with immigration cases and deportations. They are going to make it mandatory for local police, okay, to get involved with immigration enforcement. And immigration, guys, is a federally controlled process and system. The feds hold all the power with immigration. But now Florida is saying, well, we want to do more because we would like to join President Trump and be a strong proponent of what President Trump is doing. And so Florida would like to, the state is moving towards a policy that says counties cannot have their individual rules or laws that governs whether or not they're going to help ICE or DHS with their enforcement activities. No, they can no longer have those types of policies on, on the record. And so it's that to me is very, very, very dangerous. Okay. And then also, as part of that new deal, they're reporting that there would be no in-state tuition awarded to undocumented immigrants, and then the governor will maintain control over immigration laws over the state of Florida. That's one major bad thing that's happening there. Okay. Um, there's a second one, guys, involving Florida, and it has to do with the the death sentences. Florida seeks mandatory death sentences in a new immigration bill. Another and I don't use the word dangerous often. For those of you who have been following me for several years now, you know I'm usually very neutral when I talk about policies. Sometimes you're probably thinking, what do you really think, McBean? And I tell you most times what I'm really thinking. And I rarely use the word dangerous because I don't want to get anyone all riled up. But I really think that you guys need to pay attention to what's happening in Florida, because these are dangerous policies that they're putting in place. And this one in particular would remove jury discretion from during the process of sentencing individuals who are convicted of capital offenses. So here's what happened. Florida lawmakers, they're proposing a bill that would make the death penalty mandatory for undocumented immigrants convicted of capital crimes. And they would remove jury discretion and potentially violate constitutional law. Okay. And so there's concern with this particular bill that it's going to violate the Eighth Amendment and contradict past Supreme Court rulings in Florida. So we're talking about capital offenses, right? We're talking about homicide, obviously. But in the state of Florida, Florida does things a little differently. Capital crimes in Florida includes things like controlled substance trafficking, drug trafficking. It also includes sexual abuse of young children. And so this would mean that the bill could make these particular offenses make mandatory, I should say, the death penalty for these particular offenses, and takes away the right of the jury to make the decision as it relates to whether the death penalty should apply to this particular capital crime or not. So this is another one that just came out, and it's very new. There's, guys, Florida is now saying that obviously they want to be the toughest state in the nation on immigration. And if the legislature does what we're expecting it to do next week with this whole compromise, it's really going to shake things up in the state of Florida. And I believe that it's going to lead to a lot more racial profiling. You're going to have local police out there thinking that they are ICE, and they're going to have they're doing the job of a federal agent and helping to carry out immigration enforcement, and they won't have any choice in the matter. Their job is on the line. They'll just have to do it. And so you might be saying, well, if they're going to be doing that, what about if John Doe, U.S. citizen John Doe, starts beating his wife? Um, are we talking about taking away resources from going to arrest John Doe, U.S. citizen, for domestic violence because the police, they're too busy looking for immigrants? Yeah, maybe, right? Because the resources are not that many, right? Not that much, I should say. So let's keep watching Florida. Florida is very disappointing right now, like extremely disappointing. So you've got to be very careful in the state of Florida, guys. Now, the next big thing is this, and this just happened tonight, okay? Tonight, and it has to do with New York. So the Department of Justice has sued the state of New York over immigration enforcement. They want access to a database that the state has on that includes names and addresses, right? DMV has its database. As some of you New Yorkers know, here in New York, undocumented immigrants um, are get issued a driver's license. Okay. And so the Justice Department tonight has sued Governor Hochul over the state's green light law, which restricts federal immigration authorities, restricts their access to DMV records. And the feds are saying this violates the supremacy clause of the United States Constitution by obstructing federal immigration enforcement, which is ridiculous. Okay, absolutely ridiculous. Attorney General Pam Bondi criticized the law for its tip-off provision, which alerts individuals when immigration officials request their information. She accused New York of prioritizing undocumented immigrants over U.S. citizens. In response, New York Attorney General Letitia James defends the law. Of course, she's defending the law, stating that it protects residents' rights and safety. The lawsuit is similar to the next one that I'm going to discuss that happened a few days ago in Chicago. But in any event, the new attorney general warned that other states that fail to comply with federal law could face legal action next. So here's this bullying happening by the Department of Justice, which, by the way, has a lot of important things to think about and go after, right? But they're rallying all, it seems, their resources around immigration when there are also terrorists out there. There are some national security um, concerns that we have as a nation, right? They're rallying so much resources around immigration, guys, that the attorney general is so focused on immigration enforcement that they're filing these ridiculous lawsuits against states like New York, and the next one, it's Chicago, Illinois. Okay, Illinois and Chicago. A lawsuit was filed by the federal government trying to argue that the sanctuary laws, again, in the state of the state of Chicago, the state of Illinois, is hindering immigration enforcement. Um, this lawsuit was filed, I want to say, on February 6th, accusing the Democratic strongholds of unlawfully interfering with Republican President Donald Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration and seeking a court order blocking so-called sanctuary laws. Specifically, the Justice Department in the lawsuit sought to block several Illinois and Chicago laws that interfere with and discriminate against Trump's immigration policies. The lawsuit says that sanctuary laws such as the Illinois Trust Act, which prevents state and local law enforcement from assisting federal civil immigration enforcement, violate the U.S. Constitution's supremacy clause that states that federal law preempts state and local laws that may conflict with it. So my take on this, guys, is that this one is another very quite a ridiculous lawsuit, because imagine this, right? Here you have the federal government with its mandate to enforce immigration laws and a budget to do that. And then you have the state of Illinois. By the way, there's the 10th Amendment, state rights, right? So here you have the state of Illinois exercising its powers, its police powers, its welfare powers, and all of that. They create their little budget, carve out their budget, and in their budget they indicate, okay, here's where the money is going, and then you have local government, more budget happening to determine how the allocation of scarce resources should be allocated. And the police will have X amount to do their local law enforcement job, to go after John Doe for beating his wife. And They're to fight crime. And so you have the federal government now telling the locals how to use their resources. Use your resources now to do immigration enforcement. They're trying to strong arm the locals. And this, I think, is incredibly wrong. And I think that this is going to backfire on them. Okay. They are trying to commandeer. That's you can look that word up if you don't know what that one means. Trying to commandeer, trying to use their strength as a federal government to strong arm the states and the locals to carry out immigration enforcement. Guys, I hate all of this. I'm so upset about this. I just hate to see this happen. It's so bad. And what's even worse is that it's impacting real people right now because you see ICE overstepping. And we're going to talk about ICE arrest data at the end of this session. If you're enjoying this, guys, type in freedom now. Say, I'm enjoying it. Give me some hearts or thumbs up. This is YouTube. So just go ahead and hit that like button. All right. And now we're going to just kind of play a little catch up because it's been a long time since I did a live because I was away. The other news that you guys probably obviously already know about, but we hadn't talked about it yet, is the fact that the Homeland Security chief will be deputizing IRS agents to perform immigration enforcement activities because there's a lot of money at the IRS, right? Thanks to Joe Biden. A whole lot of money went to the IRS. And they have a lot of agents. And those agents who are already involved in criminal investigations will be deputized to help ICE, help Homeland Security carry out immigration enforcement. Specifically, Secretary Noem sent a letter on February 7th to the Treasury Secretary to request agents to help dig in to human trafficking networks, find businesses hiring workers in the US illegally, and assist with other immigration related tasks. So they're tapping into the IRS agents' investigatory abilities, so to speak, so that they could go out and help them with immigration enforcement. So there's that. The other news, guys, has to do with take a deep breath. I have to take a deep breath before I say this one. South Africa. Okay, we've all been seeing the TikToks. We all have our opinions about this one. But guys, you might have heard that on February 7th, again, old news, but I want to talk about it anyway. President Trump signed an executive order to halt all aid to South Africa and to also prioritize the resettlement of white Afrikaners, South Afrikaners, to come to the United States as refugees. Although we have halted our refugee program indefinitely, okay, indefinitely, they would like to prioritize white South Africans to designate them as refugees so that they could come and resettle here in the United States. So this was the one of the big um, weird things that happened last week. And you guys have been seeing the videos on TikTok, of course, where folks are saying, well, we don't want a refugee. Are you kidding me? Me? Why would I come to America as a refugee? But apparently, some people are also interested in this opportunity, from what I'm hearing. But this is just ludicrous to me. Okay, am I at the end? What else is left? I think the last part of what I want to share with you tonight, as far as an update, is ICE arrest data. From what I understand, it's they've arrested 11,000 people so far. So far, 11,000 people. They've released close to 500 of them, however, because these are individuals who maybe there was no room for them. There was no room. Again, resource problems, or these individuals have an immigration case pending, and it looks like they might actually get a green card through the lawful process that they are part of. And so they made the decision to release them. This is what ICE does, guys. This is what they do. They they release some people, okay? Some people just get a notice to appear in immigration court to begin the removal process and they're released and that's that. For some others, you have to actually put in a motion for a bond, and we do those and make an argument for their release. For others, very few, there's mandatory detention in which, under our law, they must stay in and they cannot get, they won't be released during their removal process. So, every case is different, certainly. All right, guys, that's what's going on in America tonight with immigration. Okay, a lot is going on. So let me just quickly uh, jump in here at the comments and see what you guys are saying. I do not have any news specifically on the Dream Act. I know that just a few days ago, it was reintroduced in the House because President Trump, the congresswoman who reintroduced it, said, well, President Trump said he wants to help dreamers, right? Now let's see what he does with this. So we're tracking that to see how that progresses. Okay, freedom now. But there are a number of bills that are brewing on the House side and on the Senate side that I will be talking about with you guys very soon. The script is all ready to go. All right, so stay tuned for things. What you're going to be hearing, guys, from Capitol Hill, you'll be hearing from me very soon on it, is that they're trying to put in place, pass um, more draconian laws. Good night, Kerwin. Good to see you. They're really trying to do that. And some things are redundant because, we already have certain laws on our books. So why are they doing this? They're enhancing sentences, making it harder, longer for people to be free from, their criminal background. Uh, but stay tuned. Stay tuned for me to talk about it, okay? Obviously, I'm kind of excited to be back before you guys. Freedom now, freedom now, freedom from the bondage. Okay, yeah, freedom from, I think it's immigration can be bondage. Okay, how much for a consultation? It starts at $250 at our office. Thank you. All right, freedom now, freedom now. Um, I have not looked at the March. I have not looked at the visa bulletin for March. I know that, I think it's out. I'm not sure. I have not looked at the visa bulletin. I thought I saw something on this tonight. As a matter of fact, I do think it's out. Give me a second here just to confirm. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's out. I have not looked at it yet, though. All right. Thank you for helping out. Yes, it's 300 for me, 250 for my colleagues. Thank you. Freedom now, guys. Freedom now. Hope you're doing well. Freedom now from Indiana. I have not seen we've talked about the fact that the Dream, I believe it's the Dream Act was reintroduced. Reintroduced. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Why am I not seeing? I haven't dived into that bill yet. I haven't dived into that yet. Where in Florida is your office? So we do not have an office in Florida. We're based in New York, in White Plains, New York. However, we do work with clients in Florida. If you have a pending case with a court date, is there a concern? Is there a concern of being picked up by ICE? No, if you're already in removal proceedings, you're in process, you're not the focus of their attention at this time. Thank you guys for your patience. I was recovering from a little cold that developed at the end of my vacation. Go figure. Like, really? But I'm doing much better now. Thank you for your patience. That's why I couldn't meet with you on Monday. I was like, I couldn't talk very well. Thank you. Thank you. Freedom now, guys. Let's see. VAWA is 3 years. Well, it had been, I don't, 3 years, 3 years for VAWA to process. After receiving your Social Security card, how long does it take to receive your green card? It just really depends on the processing times that USCI that's in your jurisdiction. For some people, it could happen very quickly, but look at the processing times on the government's website. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to be going most. Please take care of your health. I know. I know. Yes. Trust. That's why I went away because I take care of me, right? You know how many times people meet with me and here's what they say to me. Oh, my lawyer died, right? Like, oh, the lawyer died. Lawyers are notorious for not taking care of themselves. I'm not just a lawyer, I'm a business owner actually. So that's even more, more intense. So I've got to focus on taking care of my health. I agree with you. Let's keep going. What about the I-601 approval? I-601 approval, what about it? What do you mean, what about that? Oh, let's see. I have not visited my immigration court as yet, and my wife is not helping me after being married for 12 years. What I would be focusing on is if you're in removal proceedings, you've got to make sure that you appear for every hearing. If you do not appear for a hearing, then a judge could issue the judge will issue a removal order against you in your absence. If your wife isn't helping you, if your wife is not filing for you, you could talk with us about what's going on in the marriage, and it might even be possible for you to have a domestic violence VAWA case, but we will have to assess your case very carefully. Should we contact a lawyer before any problems? Patel, so Patel, contact a lawyer before any problems. You want to contact a lawyer if you have a case. If you have a case, most of us lawyers at that point will say, okay, let's work together on the case. Every lawyer is different. Some lawyer might say, okay, well, we'll just go on retainer, even though there's really no work for us to do right now, but you could shop around and see what works best for you. For us, we actually look for a case. Hey there, Scott. Good to see you, sir. It's been a while. Let's see. You're welcome. Um, the 601, it depends. We've seen some approved in less than a year, along with the adjustment of status case. And it depends on if if you file the 601 based on a process that you're doing here in the United States versus outside of the United States. It tends to be a little faster actually if you're outside of the US and you file the 601 to address an inadmissibility problem. Can someone change from asylum to marriage case during the immigration process? Absolutely, Giwa or Hakim. Yes, absolutely. It happens all the time. Okay, I see that, Imesh, that your court date is in 2026. So with your court date in 2026, you haven't been there yet. I saw your earlier comment. You haven't had your first hearing yet. It is a good idea to hire a lawyer to see what a relief could potentially be filed for you with immigration court. You could contact us to talk about your background and see what might be helpful to you. Um, if someone is trying to do adjustment of status after entering through the CB1, I think that to answer a question about would there be any problems, you know, I'm not sure. I won't know whether there will be any particular problem with that process. We've got to go a little deeper one on one. Let's see. Um, Now is not the time for me to actually look at questions related to timeline with citizenship and how, numbers. I'm really not thinking at 10 o'clock at night about going through the mental leap. I'm not going to think that hard. Guys, I'm not going to think that hard. I just want to tell you that I think that on Mondays at 1 o'clock, and I missed that slot this week, I think a lot better. So don't make me think too hard tonight. I'm not going to do it. Okay. Someone says that I got an approval of the I-824. What's next? What does this mean? So it means that the approved petition that USCIS has on your behalf, Michael, is going to be sent over to the National Visa Center for them to start the process, the visa application process, and you'll hear from the Visa Center once they have your case. All right, guys. All the nice folks are out tonight in the comments. This is great. The trolls got tired of waiting for me to come back from vacation. So all the good people are here. It's so good to see you guys. What if I'm under widower's protection? You'll be fine. You have an I-360 file based on being a widower. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Thank you. Stick to the law. I'm going to stick to my opinion too, okay? Jamie, I'm here to share my opinion and the law, okay? So that's never going to change. And I don't like it when people tell me what to do. I never do it. Never. Um, can an immigration case be transferred from Florida to another state? So if you're in immigration court D in, I don't know if it's court that you're in or if you had started your immigration case with USCIS through, um, you know, while you're living in Florida. But if an individual moves and they have a case pending with immigration, you should absolutely update your address. And yes, a case can be transferred to a local jurisdiction in another city. If you're an immigration court, your court can also the judge can consider a motion to change venue, to change your court from one city to the next. It happens all the time. But Florida, I'm telling you, Florida is really, Florida is really making me upset these days. Freedom now, freedom now. Florida is pushing it too far. Thank you guys, freedom now. So long as TPS is still grateful, so long as TPS designation is still active, the redesignation, yes, you can do a renewal of your TPS. Let's see, let's go back up here. If you're a green card holder with a felony, is it advisable to file for citizenship right now, Nikki? So, Nikki, I would say that you should speak with an attorney, and you could get different opinions, of course, on the matter. I would not touch citizenship right now with a felony record, but again, speak with someone one-on-one about that. Okay. Thank you. Sun Cam says that he's in or he or she's in Miami and a US citizen. I'm just here to learn. That's great. Thank you for being here. Um, let's see. Let's keep going. Um, My VAWA was denied in 2022. Can I refile it? You might be able to. It just really depends on the facts. Are you guys still married? If you're not married, how long ago were you divorced from the abuser spouse who's a U.S. citizen or a green card holder? What were the reasons why that VAWA case was denied? Um, were there certain was it based on lack of evidence, or what were the circumstances for the denial? We would want to look at the denial letter and ask you a number of questions, Shannon, to determine whether or not you should refile. Okay, you should refile. Yes, cover me. I like this. Thank you, Maureen. I appreciate it. Yes, I am covered. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love it when people connect with me in certain ways. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Georgia. Um, drug youthful offender. Can they still apply? I see that question. So, it's I think that you should talk we could talk one-on-one about that. Immigration has a way of really wanting to know about everything and when it all happened, how things ended, what type of drug was involved, right? There's so much to it that immigration will want to know. So certainly speak with a lawyer before you consider doing anything. Hey there, Jane. Good to see you. Great to see you. Um, visa process. My lawyer just sent the 765 to be bona fide for work permit. Shouldn't that be sent together with the I-918? So, every attorney does it however he or she wants to do it, Oscar. We typically send the 765 with the case in the very beginning, but it can certainly be done the way that your lawyer is doing it, so long as you get your work permit. Don't beat the lawyer up too much, okay? Just as long as you get your work permit, that's truly what matters. Um, let's see. Is it safe now to get married and submit documents for work permit and green card? Today on social media, I was live and I started off by saying some things about marriage cases. I do think that you should still file your marriage case if you have a marriage case. You just have to know what to expect. And I shared that you should expect an interview. Most people are going to be called in for an interview. You should expect a longer wait time and maybe a little bit and a lot more scrutiny of your case. But I would not say, Ola, to sit out 4 years. If you're in a marriage to a US citizen and he or she wants to secure your status here permanently with him or her, well, move forward with a marriage case. It's just that you've got to have the mindset of a fighter, that this is going to be a fight, right? Because that's how the agency is very adversarial right now. And they're they the people who work there, many of them are good people and they want to grant you your green card, but they're having these pressures put on them to be very adversarial and to do extreme vetting and give people a hard time. So that's what we're expecting to happen. There will be a lot of whistleblowers too, because some people just want to do their work and they don't want to be made to feel like a bad person as they're working every day. Who wants to feel like a bad person if you're really not? So people are going to be rebelling against certain policies. It's just human nature. All right, let's keep going. D says court. Okay, I see that. I had covered that. I covered it earlier. Um, let's see. Will I-130 cases be impacted with all the changes? Yes, Stephanie. Yes, from the standpoint of those issues that I just addressed, lengthier wait times, more scrutiny, extreme vetting, interviews. It doesn't even matter, I don't think, whether it's a parent filing for a child or a child filing for a parent. The culture at the agency has changed, is changing. Okay, is changing. However, what won't change, Stephanie, is the eligibility process, right? Parents of US citizens will still be eligible to apply for a green card. Spouses will still be eligible to apply. Siblings will still be eligible, right? The categories, children will still be eligible. Those are set in place by Congress. So those are the things that will not change. Thank you. If you're living in the state of Florida, can any lawyer from any state be used? Yes, and immigration is federal law, and so we are able to practice in all 50 states, and we're able to to help people outside of the United States as well. How much would it cost if, where's that question? I thought I saw a question here about how much would it cost if a child is filing for you. I think I lost it. How much would it cost if a child is filing for you? Oh, so if you're talking about filing fees, those are on USCIS's website, and it's $3,005 if you're doing adjustment of status through that US citizen adult son or daughter. Um, if it's if you're outside of the United States, the fees are different. Fees are less. Okay, the next question is it okay to travel internationally now on a green card? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't think people should be staying out longer than 6 months on their green card under this administration. I'm sticking to that. Um, because I don't want to see you encounter problems on the way back. Now, if you have a real need to stay outside longer than a year, yes, apply for a reentry permit. Do it the right way before you leave America and get that reentry permit. And then you could leave and you could stay outside for up to 2 years, and that's renewable as well. There's a process that's in place that will allow you to stay out lawfully for more than a year. But if you're one of those green card holders who say, this is my practice, I'm spending half the year in Jamaica and half the year in the United States. This is just how I do it. I'm going to spend 9 months in Jamaica, and I'm picking on Jamaica because I'm Jamaican born. Okay, I'm Jamaican, so I could pick on my own birth land, right? So you say, okay, I'm going to Jamaica for 9 months. I'm just going to keep it up. This is how I'm going to do it. I got away with this for so many years. It's not a big deal. I don't know what McBean, she keeps making a big deal about this. She talks too much anyway, right? Well, you keep that up under the Trump administration, and they might end up placing you in removal proceedings on your next trip back to the United States, accusing you of abandoning your residency, and then you're going to need a lawyer to help you in removal. That's what don't want to see you get into. Okay, so that's why that type of practice has to end under this Trump administration. All right. Um, Let's see, I've answered that. Thank you guys. Let me jump down a little bit here. Is domestic travel okay for a documented illegal immigrant waiting for his 2026 court date? Yes, you could travel around the United States. Yes. The Real ID Act is going into effect in May, and it's going to impact domestic travel. But if you have certain other IDs, you will be able to get on that airplane and travel around the United States. Yes, you could, a person can travel around the United States, even if they're in removal proceedings. Um, um, let's see. I think you'll be fine. Okay, I saw your question earlier and I touched on it briefly. I just didn't pull it up here, okay? Um, I think you'll be fine. But again, in order for me to advise whether there will be any problems with adjustment of status, there's more that obviously about your background that I would need to know. All right. You were paroled into the United States. You should be fine. But again, I don't know all of the facts, okay? Hey there, Medj. Medj, you look like you could be Haitian. I don't know the name and the face. Let me know, Medj, if you're from Haiti. I have Haitians in our family as well. Um, okay, sak passe. I don't know. I could be wrong, Medj. You tell me if I'm wrong. Um, how long does it take when you apply for citizenship? So citizenship was a very fast process over the last year, 4 months, 6 months. We're anticipating at Biola that it is going to jump up to maybe more than 12 months wait for citizenship. Okay. Someone says, I would like a consultation with you. Would I get you or another member of the team? So, do it could be with me. You could get me if you choose to. It could be with someone else on the team if it just depends on the time, the date, and what works best for you. Okay. Hey there, Nyla. I did. I shared some details of the trip on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Thank you for that. Let's see. I'm being spammed here. My husband was refused at court. His case was denied because of some documents. And was at the BIA since 2020. Since then, no improvement. What can we do? So the BIA process can be very, very slow. What we would do is we would request all of his records from immigration to see what happened with his case, and then we would advise accordingly. For you know, a case like this that's pending at the BIA, obviously we would have to wait for a decision. If a brief was never submitted for a case, we would request all the records while we have an opportunity to. And then once the briefing schedule becomes available, in some cases, then we would prepare the brief for the client. But it all depends on how far into the process an individual is. Okay, great question. Can a travel ban against a country affect green card holders' ability to re-enter the United States? No. The travel bans typically have exceptions to them. The exceptions usually say something like, well, this doesn't apply to US citizens or lawful permanent residents. At least the last travel bans that were in effect, they had those, and I anticipate that the new batch that they're working on will do the same. We're in the 60-day period right now, guys, where the government is reviewing information, data, confidential stuff, um, which is their fancy way of saying that they're doing some sort of process of justifying which countries that they're going to issue a travel ban against based on various national security concerns and other things like that. So they're working on that. They're giving themselves 60 days. Really, I think that 60 days is more for us than them, just to give us a little breathing room in between all of these draconian policies. So we're waiting to see what they're going to come back with. Let's see. Wow, someone says that they missed their biometrics appointment last year, July. I think that you're gonna need to try to get another biometrics appointment. I don't know what the status of your case is right now. You missed your appointment and it's been so many months. Can someone who is married to a US citizen who who did not apply for a green card yet be deported? So that individual, if ICE detains that individual, um, a notice to appear would be issued to start the removal process. And then, if the spouse, the US citizen spouse, decides to file for the spouse who is now in deportation proceedings, fine, it can work. It's just a little bit of a hurdle. There's some hurdles to jump through, but it can work. And I-130 would need to be filed, and then eventually something needs to be done about the removal case, and then a green card application. It'll probably happen in steps or phases, but an individual is not protected from deportation by virtue of just being married to a US citizen. It's it's still a removal process, and that they would face, um, and they could get out of it. It can end. Can you explain a little bit more on IRS and immigration? So, Philippe, I had explained briefly earlier that the Department of Homeland Security will be deputizing, which here's what I want you to think about when you think of the word deputizing, like anointing, like, like laying hands on and saying, okay, I'm delegating, right? I'm delegating this authority that I have to you. So basically, they're going to give them the ability or an authority to carry out some immigration investigation functions. And they are specifically asking for agents who already are doing criminal investigations for the IRS because they're law enforcement people. And so, Christy Nome, the DHS secretary, is asking the Treasury secretary for these individuals to help with immigration. And it looks like their focus is narrowed on like trafficking and some other areas. Although they also said that they're going to need the IRS's help with identifying people um, in the workplace. Hold on a second, guys. Let me read that out for you because that's going to be an interesting connection. A little light just went off in my mind. Give me a second here. Let me find my notes. Um, okay. Find businesses hiring workers in the US illegally. So, so it sounds like they're going to be tapping more into the IRS database and some information that they might have on businesses that maybe they suspect to be hiring undocumented immigrants in the United States. Find businesses hiring workers in the US illegally. Sometimes the government already knows which businesses are doing things like that, and so that would be a good segue for the federal government to catch the employees, right? and the IRS has some data already. So that's how I'm thinking about this, Philippe. That's the connection there with the IRS, part of the connection. Thank you for helping me to expound on that a little bit more. That was great. I appreciate that. I like it when you guys pull it out of me. Pull it out. Pull it out. Right. BIA stands for the Board of Immigration Appeals, Mr. Peart. Um, how long? Welcome to the first live. Thank you. How long does it typically take the Visa Center to schedule Ghanaian interviews after document approval? The last that I checked, um, it was about a year. It's still lengthy for Accra. Let's see. Freedom Now, Freedom Now. I don't know where all this energy is coming from. Let's see. Normally I would be out right now by like, oh, gotta go, guys. But I have a little kick here. Okay. Okay, this guys, as I would just say, don't talk too much about the criminal side of things in a public forum. Misdemeanor 7 years ago, it was dismissed. Uh, it was not a conviction, it was a plea. Will this put me on ICE's short list? Simon is asking. Probably not. Here's why I say that, Simon, as far as their short list, which I don't know anything about a short list or a long list or anything like that. I just know generally they're targeting people with a criminal record, people with removal order, final order for removal, and then thirdly, people who entered the United States over the past 2 years through the various parole programs, which they've ended a couple of them, some of them so far. So with this misdemeanor from 7 years ago that's dismissed, it's really low priority to them. Another reason it's low priority to them is because there are over 600,000 people that they already know about who have a criminal conviction. And I've shared that data with you guys, and I broke down for you couple of weeks ago the categories of crimes that they have. I shared that table with you, and I said, this is the number of people convicted of this type of offense, gun offense, this drug offenses. I broke it down, and those were very serious felony convictions, over 600,000. So those are the people who are on that list. I don't think your little misdemeanor from 7 years ago made the list. Okay. Um, I am married to a US citizen, but I have not filed yet, but working on it. I work as an HHA. Do I have anything to worry about? We will be filing soon. Misha, I think you're going to be fine. Okay, I think you're going to be fine. Continue to work on gathering your evidence and to prepare a strong case. I think you'll be okay. Okay, thank you. Um, let's see, let's go back up here. I got an interview notice in 2024, but I did not go because my husband was sick. What can I do now? So, when in 2024 did you get this interview notice? Um, because it seems like USCIS might be late with sending a denial letter based on abandonment. All right. Um, did you guys make any attempt to reschedule the interview, a good faith attempt to reschedule it? If you don't do anything very soon, your case will be denied. Hey there, Bev. Good to see you. Okay. I've been sipping on ginger ale all day. Maybe that's what it is. Um, if you have a pending VAWA case, can your citizen child file for you? Keisha, so a U.S. citizen adult son or daughter can absolutely file for you. Let's see. Driving without a license, can a green card holder be in trouble? No, that's like minor. That's like small potatoes. Very small. Political asylum is still, there's still a significant backlog, Rosemary, with asylum cases. Some people are waiting up to 10 years. I met with folks this week who had been waiting for close to 10 years only to get the interview, and unfortunately it didn't work. And then they were placed in the removal process with their asylum case. So it's slow. For some people, if you're eligible to expedite it, I would want to do an expedite request. For some people, filing the mandamus makes sense because it's just unfair and unjust for you to be waiting so many years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years for your asylum case. It's a slow. It's a crisis right now with asylum cases, and the fact that the courts are overwhelmed with asylum cases as well. I won my cat case. I won my cat case 10 years ago. Should I worry about ICE now trying to deport me to another country? I'm from Egypt. So I would not worry too much about that. You know, ICE is at this point focusing not so much on people who were successful with a case in court, even though it wasn't, like that's not, obviously, you would have liked to have been approved for asylum, obviously. They're looking for people who had been given a final order of removal and they're still here in the country, or again, among the 600 and something thousand who they know about who have a criminal conviction. They're looking for those individuals as at this time. It broke my heart today. Was it today or yesterday? I saw that TikTok video. I didn't want to share it with you guys because I don't like sharing too much of the negative stuff, right, on social media. That I shared the truth, and the truth many times these days will be negative, but I just chose not to share that video of those three men who were in their food truck. Has anyone seen that? If you've seen that video about the men in their food truck in Tennessee, they were just at work, minding their own business. They look like good, decent men, and they were four ICE agents in plain clothes, hoodies, came to, approach the food truck, went right in and arrested all three of them. It just really, really bothered me. Did anyone see that video? Um, so certain parts of the country, they're getting away with things like that. And Tennessee. Um, thank you. Thank you. Guys, I'm gonna jump off here, okay? I'm gonna jump off. My I-751 document to remove conditions. I don't get any answer yet. Sharon, it's taken, for some people, it will take that 48-month period to hear back from the government on the case. It just really depends on the strength of your case. But for the most part, the removal of conditions these days seem to be moving a little closer, okay? Claudia says, yes, sad you saw that video. Yeah, Meryl said that she cried for. Yeah, especially the smallest guy who was all the way in the back in the kitchen. The real small one. When I saw his face, I said, "Oh, are you kidding me? What are they gonna do with this guy? Leave them alone." Anyway, guys, we have to keep doing what we're doing. We've got to stick together, okay? We have to stick together. Um, and talk together, talk about what's happening, share information, and stay prayed up. I felt like saying that. Stay prayed up. Okay. Stay prayed up. If you follow me on social media, you might get some of my inspirational messages. If you like inspirational faith-based messages, follow me on social media because I'm saying what I want to say these days and I want to encourage people. So, guys, contact us for more information about your immigration case. If you would like to speak with us privately about your case, you might see me again on Friday. There might be more news that's going to happen this week. And if so, I'm going to try to come back before you on Friday, which is Valentine's Day, so that we could cover anything else. I want to get caught up with everything. Thanks so much, guys. I love you. Thank you for being here. My husband is glad that I have somebody else to talk to. I know every day he's hearing me with all this immigration stuff. So he's glad that I have you guys to talk to tonight. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.